Alright, so this week's topic is on PMS and how it could be a struggle for a woman. Teenagers, 20s, 30s, whatever, but especially with people with bipolar, it's really not easy because you get overly emotional. And we're overly emotional in general when we're going through our symptoms with being symptomatic with bipolar, but when we PMS, forget it, it gets a lot worse. We can go from having high insecurities, severe depression to the point we're suicidal, anger that we let out with people beyond measures, and sometimes we get manic when we PMS, which I've dealt with all those symptoms. It's hard because we always dread every month having to go through that with our menstruals and then PMS. It's not easy. And this song by Katy Perry, Hot and Cold, really symbolizes that, especially the part which I love. You PMS like a bitch, I would know, because we can get really bitchy when we PMS. Like, I try to distance myself from people when I'm PMSing a lot of times. Sometimes I make the mistake and not, because we could get quite nasty. I see how I am at my house with my family when I get like that, so I try to just have my space, close my bedroom door, and just shut out the world because I never know what type of mood I'm going to be in for that week. And it's like, our instincts, like, inside us, a lot of us naturally just get like that, but when you're bipolar, it just really, the substance gets up. Because I've been there. I think the week back in December when I was lashing out my cousin, which I'm not in speaking terms with her sadly right now, but she was my cousin, best friend. I believe that I was PMSing that week, and I also was manic, and it was a mixture of something that was a touchy subject for me, the anniversary from like 3 years ago, and it just dawned on me, and I was overthinking it. When you PMS, you can overthink about things too, and things are a lot worse than they seem. Us bipolar individuals and women, we tend to like overthink everything, and we doubt ourselves, and we always wonder the what ifs, and we will get worked up over things. But when we PMS, sometimes it could be worse than other times. I notice with myself, I could be like totally bad and come across like I'm damaged goods. And like I think to myself all the time, like sometimes I feel like I'm gonna feel that way forever, be angry at the world forever, be depressed forever. But then the realization hits me and I have to think positive, like, oh, it's only gonna be a week, it's temporary, I'm not gonna feel like this forever, I'm just PMSing. I have to constantly remind myself I'm PMSing. When my actions hit and it's toxic actions for myself and for others, I remind myself I'm not trying to make excuses, but I have to remind myself that I'm PMSing, and that's not how Alyssa normally acts. So I have to just keep that in mind in my head. Because if I don't, my insanity is going to reach the roof, and I'm just going to feel like I'm going to be this way, like, on a daily when I'm really not. And I tend to, like, I know a lot of other women feel this way, and when you're bipolar, it's worse. You think back to previous actions you've done in your life, and you just have so much regret, and you're dwelling on it. I've done that many times, and there are times I get, like, overly emotional, like, thinking back to, like, people, loved ones in my life that passed away, or ex-boyfriends of mine. I dwell about them, or the history with them because I'm PMSing, and it was a touchy subject for me when I wasn't PMSing and I was feeling normal. But then, let alone when I'm PMSing, the hormones cut even more looser. Instead of it being tight, it gets more loose for me. And I can only imagine how it is for teenage girls, especially because when I was a teenager, my PMS was pretty bad. In my 20s, it's really mellowed down, which has helped because I find my 20s was it's a lot simpler than when I was a teenager, because when I was a teenager, I struggled with a lot of different things. Now in my 20s, it's just more like a thing where I get manic sometimes, but knock on wood, I haven't gotten manic in quite a while severely. And like, I just get depressed from time to time, where I like just shut people out and I'm depressed, I'm quiet, I'm sleeping a lot. So in my 20s, things got a lot better for me, and I'm confident. Even when I'm PMSing, I'm not insecure about myself no more. I may question things about myself and different things, but It's not a point where I'm just down in my appearance, my personality. I know I have a lot to offer in the world, so I don't dwell on that. But PMS could be really toxic for us, especially bipolar, because we have a mood disorder as is. And when you PMS, it's like it's just factoring even more with that. It's extra baggage that's not normally there. And I always dread it every time I have a bad case of PMS because sometimes I say things I don't mean and regret it, or I get too overly angry, too overly depressed, and it's not good qualities to be. And I like it better when I don't go through the PMS stage because there are times where I'm not PMSing really at all on my period. There are times it's worse than others. Like when it's like minor, I don't really notice it as much. I don't think I'm PMSing. I might keep it in my head, but I don't advertise it to people. Like I don't lash out, I don't advertise it. When it's really a bad maximum rate of it, then I tend to really act out on it. But when it's minor, you don't really feel it as much. So, we always dread us women that week when it comes because we don't know what type of moods we're going to be in. But just know it's going to be okay. Just keep in mind that however you talk to people, whatever way you act, remember that it's gonna be alright. And it lasts like about before the period, after period. Sometimes it's the duration during it. It really depends. But keep in mind that it's really gonna be alright. You don't gotta worry about it because the people who love you unconditionally will understand where you're coming from and understand why you are the way you are, especially when you PMS. When people are bipolar, we tend to get misunderstood a lot. We tend to be like sometimes judged, and it's not an easy thing, but people who really love you unconditionally aren't gonna judge you on how you act when you PMS or how you act on the regular, sometimes when you're going through struggles. And it's a day-to-day struggle, but it does get better because it's gotten better for me. Knock on wood. I've always bounced back from what I go through. Even though sometimes there might still be problems in my way, I rise above it because when you're a strong person like me, not to toot my horn, but when you have strengths like me and you don't let things get to you, then it's easier. And that's why I feel bad for teenage girls because when they're young like that, they don't know that things could get better for them. They don't know that they could rise above everything because sometimes they feel weak, but they're really not. It's just hard when they're that age because I feel like teenage girls are more hormonal than girls in their 20s. Like, I'm 23, gonna be 24 next month, and I noticed that my hormones aren't as bad as when I was 15, when I was 16. It gets better with age, with time, with life experiences, and your period ain't as bad as you get older. You may get frustrated sometimes because if you're bipolar like me, there might be things like you overreact to things and you're overly emotional. I tend to get like really emotional very easily. So I just try to control it more day to day. And when I PMS, I really try to control it now because I don't want to get myself into trouble being in my head or taking it out on people. So I really try my best. So, word of advice for teenage girls, girls in their 20s, no matter how old you are, it does get better. And PMS, and what you're lucky about with PMS is you may be bipolar and be symptomatic time to time for the rest of your life, but it doesn't define you. And when you PMS, you gotta think to yourself, that's typically what a non-chemical imbalanced person deals with too. Like, even though you're chemically imbalanced, like, your PMS is like normal to people that don't have the chemical imbalance problem and are chemically balanced because we all deal with it. It's God's nature, so don't worry about it. So that's basically what I wanted to discuss today, and I will further address it more too. I'm not trying to make my videos short. There are going to be times they're more lengthwise than others. I definitely wanted to do a video today because yesterday I never got around to it. And I figured do it in the afternoon because nighttime it just sometimes I get too lazy and don't feel like doing it. I'd rather relax. So I feel like it'll be just better off when I do it in daytime when I have the chance. I do hope everyone's doing good though and feeling positive and what else? Oh, I hope everyone's been having a good week And no matter what life throws at you, always remember things could get better. If you're having a rough week with PMS or mania or depression, believe me, it does get better. I don't think everyone feels the same. Not everyone, actually, no one at all feels the same every day. There might be a day you're happy, a day you're miserable, but that comes with territory of life. If you were the same, if someone out there, which is very unusual and definitely not the case, but if someone was the same mood every day, happy, I would be concerned because nobody's happy on a daily. And there's fun. There's nothing wrong with having different emotions, you know. We have good weeks and bad weeks, good days and bad days. But always remember tell yourself, okay, I'm PMSing right now. This is not who I am as a person. I'm not defined by my menstrual, how my cycle acts every month. Just keep that in mind to all you girls out there, to all you women out there. So that's basically what I wanted to discuss today. I hope these videos honestly has helped a lot of people. I know it's mainly addressed to teenage girls and to women who are in their womanhood because it's easier like to talk about that with women with bipolar because guys are bipolar too, but they have different types of moods with it. Us women are overly emotional in general, let alone having a diagnosis of bipolar. So I definitely feel like it's more relatable me discussing it towards young women than it is with guys. Because I'm not in the guy's head. I'm not in guy's emotions. I am a woman and I know what it's like to deal with womanhood and deal with back when I was a teenager, deal with teenage issues and deal with bipolar. So definitely I could relate to every single one of yous, and yous could definitely relate to me because, you know, we kind of have that same relation. By the way, sorry my voice is a little off today. I have a cold right now, so yeah. But anyways, if you guys need to reach out to me, do not hesitate at all. I'm really trying to get my YouTube more noticed. The best one was the first video, obviously, because it was an introduction to my world. Everyone was tuned in, because I'm sure a lot of people were curious about what my channel was like and stuff. I think it will get better the views as time goes on, but definitely, if you have friends who are bipolar like me, or let your friends know, or if they have family like that, just let them know about it. Maybe they'd be interested in tuning in. I give a lot of insight about it, so I hope it really helps. I give as much positive advice as I can. And if you need to email me, this is my YouTube email, bethechangeyoucanbe@gmail.com. I don't know, being honest, I don't go on it every day, but I try to go on it as often as I can because I mainly go on my college email a lot and personal emails. This is more for my YouTube page. So if you need to shoot me an email, don't be afraid to. I will not judge you. I will keep it confidential. And like I said, it's bethechangeyoucanbe@gmail.com. So, to everyone, have a good Friday. Stay happy as much as you can. Stay blessed. Don't feel defeated if it's a bad day for you. It may be a bad day, but it's not a bad life. Keep in mind, things could be a lot worse. And try not to be as over dramatic when you PMS, but I know it's kind of inevitable and hard because I've tended in the past to be very overly dramatic when I'm PMS, and I'm in general an overly dramatic person on a day to day, but that just comes with sometimes your personality or your mindset. So try to have a positive, healthy mindset today. And yeah, that's it. So everyone have a good weekend. XOXO. Remember my emails, bethechangeyoucanbe@gmail.com. Bye.